For the Senator's campaign. Very pleased to have that positioning with Representative Rocana from the great state of California, Mayor Carmen Cruz from Puerto Rico, and our Minister of Ice Cream himself, Ben Cohen from Ben and Jerry's. So it's beautiful to be in Waterloo. So I just left Dubuque, Iowa, and I don't know what that thing, the room is so small. Oh, you recorded this thing? You need me on? Okay. So anyway, sisters and brothers, yes, I'm free now. It's great to be here with you. Just that I've been traveling. Certainly it's not my first time to Iowa. It will not be my last time to Iowa. We were just in Dubuque, and I'm telling you something, that corn boy, woo-wee. I mean, eating the corn in Iowa, baby, it's like eating candy. It was amazing. So I told Jess, I got to give you some money. You got to ship a sister some corn. I'm told that nothing beats corn in Iowa in the summertime. And man, y'all got that. I mean, didn't need anything on it. No salt, no pepper, just a little butter, and you just go. So I'm still feeling some kind of way about that corn. It was beautiful. So I got to share with you Waterloo when I got off the plane. So I've been gone for 2 weeks, and I shared with Jess. I've been on the road for the last 2 weeks straight. My suitcase was about as big as this room. And I exaggerated a little bit, but it was huge. And just traveling the country, between Detroit and South Carolina, and now this weekend to be here with you, the beautiful thing. So I get off the plane, and I'm waiting for my bags. I didn't check my bags. You have to wait the rampway for them to bring it up because the plane was so small. And there's a bat loose in the corridor where we're waiting on our I'm saying, Dubuque, I will never forget this. This was in Dubuque at the airport. I said, I will never forget my landing in Dubuque, greeted by a bat, and I'm ducking and dodging, And I'm the only sister, if y'all know what I mean. And I'm saying to myself, Lord have mercy, I hope this bat don't like dark meat. You know what I mean? Please don't let it come from me. So that was quite an experience. So never forget my landing back in Iowa, but landing in Dubuque. But yeah, it was been beautiful. I talked to a group of volunteers this morning. They went over to help Representative Lindsey James. That was the corn boil that I went to. And it's really nice to have public service on the state level of government that we can come in and support, because it is vitally important that Senator Bernie Sanders, no great president can do it all alone. We need some folks. It takes teamwork to make a dream work. And Iowa, just like all across the country, Democrats went to sleep in 2010, and so we weren't able to draw the lines. Right? We find ourselves right back where we started. Now we got to do this thing right. You got to get people elected to the legislature that will draw fair lines, that they will not gerrymander, that they will make sure that the people get to pick their elected officials and not the other way around. So the legislature is as important as the presidency of the United States of America. Local government is just as important as the presidency and the Congress, and sometimes we forget that. So I'm told that you guys are, that Republicans really control the thing here, not necessarily doing the right thing. For me, it doesn't really matter. I'm over the party affiliation stuff for the most part. I hail from the party at RT and the party of the right thing. And we just need more people who are willing to do the right thing. But the Democratic Party is more primed to be able to do that. So we got to stand up and do what is right, even if it costs us something. And so please keep the people who are running for the state legislature in mind. I'm told in Iowa, you're just 4 seats away, or just a few seats away from being able to take the House of Representatives, so that would be vitally important. And to elect people who are actually going to put more something on the line, not just people giddy about having a new title. Titles are good, but purpose is better. We need some more purpose-driven people in these seats, and not folks that are just so happy to be in the room that they forget why they're in the room, and then they're not serving the people. So, my God, Iowa, this is about you, obviously. We need you. We need to do this thing. I know it was kind of like a toss-up in 2016. It was a coin toss, and I'm told they decided, Iowa, we can make it right this time in 2020 and be assured that Senator Bernie Sanders wins this state. And it is because of people like you in this room. I had a chance to talk to the chairwoman a little bit, and we have to be in the position of transcendence. We can't have no more half measure. Either you are on the side of the people or you are not. We already got enough turmoil going on because of the person that's in the White House. We don't need another kind of middle of the road, middle of the way Democrat elected to serve in the presidency. We need somebody that's all the way on the side of the people. We need somebody #receipts. Somebody that we can go back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, been singing the same song about the system being rigged against the working poor and barely middle class in this country. Somebody who stands up no matter what the polls say. But see, Senator Bernard Sanders don't wait for the polls to tell him what's right, what is just, and what is good. And the man, I mean, he's just a visionary because he's just really been on the right side of this stuff. And but for his courage to lift up these issues on the national stage in 2016, he had been lifting them all along as a U.S. Senator from Vermont. But once he hit that national stage, no matter what people had to say, he said, oh no, we need a Medicare for all system in this country. Let's stop commodifying people's health care. Let's do the right thing and have a system that people not only have access, this ain't about access to health care. This is about you flat out having the health care that you need to be able to live a good life. Remember in 2016, we asked the question during the debate, what is the biggest national threat to this country? And he said with a straight face, the biggest existential threat to this nation and to the world is climate change. People almost laughed him off the stage. Now you can barely find one Democratic candidate that will not talk about climate change. See, he's on the right side even when it is not popular. We need that kind of champion in office because far too many people in this country are suffering, they've been left behind. So between having a madman in the White House, let me count the ways, we know how many ways, and a system that is leaving far too many of us behind in this country, we need somebody whose only special interest are people like the people who are in this room. And that's why we need you. When the senator says it's not about me, it's about us, it really does mean that. You know, shout out to our sisters and brothers in Puerto Rico. That's how it's done. That's the kind of political revolution the senator is talking about. You know, you got a corrupt governor who caught. You know, we got all kinds of receipts about him being corrupt. And he says, I'm not going. And the people of Puerto Rico, the grassroots came together and said, no, brother, you going. You going, right? And they protested, and finally had to give in. He's gone. That is what we need to start doing on the mainland, not just to accept this stuff. It just boggles my mind how people in Congress and you know, these folks can pretend this is our money. The tax dollars, this is your money, it ain't their money, and they act like it's their money. If we decide as a nation, as a social contract, one to another, we want to have universal health care in this country, like every other industrialized nation on the face of the earth, then maybe we can have it. We don't need people put for Medicare maybe. That's one of the plans for one of the presidential candidates. Then we got another one that says if you have Medicare, you're stumping on President Obama. Affordable Care Act was a beginning, and it was a good beginning. Pre-existing conditions, stay on your parents' health care till you're 26, it was a good start. But even President Obama has said that universal health care is the way that we should go. See, the thing about progress is that you build on a solid foundation. You don't stay in place. And so it is asinine to say we pay more money than anybody in the industrialized world for health care that is not giving us the best return on our investment. We're dying younger in this country too as a result. The life expectancy is not as long as it once was. What does it mean to be a hegemon nation when you don't take care of your people? So this is about an investment. This is about a social contract. And then the Medicare for All as it exists right now, our elders can't get dental, they can't get vision, they can't get hearing aids. Are you kidding me? I want to quote the urban poet Tupac, who said we got money for wars, but we can't feed the poor. We got money for the prison industrial complex. We got money to bail out Wall Street, but we can't have Medicare for all. We can't cancel student debt. What kind of sense does that make? And thank God for a visionary like Senator Bernie Sanders, because he challenged us to look at the world in a different way. You know, I'm still carrying student debt right now. Between me and my son, we got about $100,000 combined. And you know, the thought never crossed my mind that I was being ripped off all this time, or that we can do things a different way. But when you have a visionary like Senator Sanders who says that $1.6 trillion, let's make that investment offset how we bailed out Wall Street. About $27 trillion, we didn't bat an eye because folks told us we had to do that. Well, guess what? We have to start making investments on Main Street in the same way that we save these folks. And it's not about wealth, sisters and brothers of Waterloo. Wealth is a beautiful thing. What we're talking about is pure unadulterated greed on the backs and the necks of the people in this nation. Think about how healthcare is commodified. You know, we got a doctor by the name of Dr. Dooley. She's a doctor in Michigan. And if you go to the Senator's Twitter feed, you'll be able to see her. But I had a chance to have a conversation with her. And she has no fear about going to Medicare for All. Matter of fact, she wants to go to Medicare for All because she sees so many of her patients who postpone even coming to their doctor's appointments because they can't afford it. In the United States of America. So what are our priorities in this nation? What is most important to us in this nation? And isn't it time that we have a champion in the White House that will stand up for working people in this country, whether they're black, whether they're brown, whether they're white, or whether they're swirled in between, no matter how people identify, it is good to have that kind of champion. And guess what, Waterloo? There's nobody that comes close to the senator. I'm gonna quote the senator because he will say, some of my closest friends, they all my closest friends, they're all good people. So I'm gonna quote the senator. They're all good people. Some of them are his closest friends. But when you pull down the way, and I just want you to line up all 100 people that are running for president. On the Democratic side. And just line them up by their record. Line them up based on the things that you care about. Senator Sanders is head and shoulders. Roll the tape. You ain't got to take Sister Turner's word for it. Go back. Roll the tape. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. He has been preaching the same gospel, which is the system is rigged. People in this country deserve better than what they are getting. That if we put together a political revolution, we will change this country to lights that we have not ever seen in modern history. He doesn't need a poll to tell him what side to get on. He don't get on the debate stage and say one thing, then when he get off, he's changed his mind. He knows where he stands. He stands with the people.
Well,
the people. He stands with the people. So, I just believe that every candidate is preaching from the gospel according to Senator Bernard Sanders. That's how I feel about it. And I hope that all of you feel that way too. We need transcendence in this country. Too much is happening. And while I'm on too much is happening, will you take a moment with me? I am from the great state of Ohio. I hail from Cleveland, Ohio. That is my home. And to wake up to find out about the shooting in Dayton, Ohio, broke my heart. To know what happened to our sisters and brothers in El Paso just yesterday. All of us should be saddened by this, because this was white supremacist terrorism. No matter how we want to cut it, we can't soft soap this. The one guy targeted Walmart, where we knew mostly our Hispanic sisters and brothers would be, and the guy in Dayton targeted an area where African Americans were. Some kind of festival going on. We have an obligation, each and every one of us, no matter what our ethnicity is, to stand up. And it cannot just be black and brown people saying that this damn system is rigged and that white supremacy is going to tear this country apart. It's one thing to have people gunned down. You know, that in and of itself is horrible. But to have people just walking around triggered and programmed to say, I'm going to shoot somebody because of who they are, whether they're Jewish, whether they're black, whether they're brown, whether they're gay. We have a problem in this country that is bigger than President Trump, even though he is stoking the flames, but he is a manifestation of the unfinished business in the United States of America. And so we need conscious-minded people from all walks of life to call this stuff for what it is. And we need elected officials, both on the state and federal level, who are not owned by a gun lobby in this country. We got to change this thing around. Just have a moment of silence. I'm one of them girls, I do believe that thoughts and prayers and action, you know, thoughts, prayers, and sweat equity, those things go together. The Christian Bible said that faith without works is dead. But I do believe that we should give our thoughts and our prayers and be ready to act towards what is going to turn this thing around. So just a moment of silence for our sisters and our brothers in El Paso, Texas, and our sisters and brothers in Dayton, Ohio. Thank you very much for that. And then we got to decide what we're going to do with the nation in terms the biggest and they're not the baddest. The conscious-minded people on the move decided we're not going to take this anymore. I shudder to ask, what else do we have to do? You know, when the babies got shot in elementary school, I thought, you know, things were going to change. In Parkland, I thought things were going to change. What the hell is it going to take? Things are going to change. Well, yeah, flipping the Senate is one part, but it's not just the Republican Party that's owned by the gun lobby. So it's about China. It's the type of people that we elect to office. So I know that all of you, hopefully all of you, are going to sign up for some shifts to help Senator Sanders win this race. You know, from the debate over that Tuesday and that Wednesday, the number of people who poured in to support him, I think he raised about $2 million in 2 days. Because he wrote the damn bill. That's why he did Y'all know what I mean? Hashtag drop the mic. Drop the mic on that one. It was a beautiful sight. I bring that up just to say that when you get the level, you have more grassroots donors than any presidential candidate in the history of presidential candidates in history. I just believe that that kind of support is more telling than some of these polls. Because when people give you $2, $5, $27, $46, man, you better believe they're going to vote for you. That kind of grassroots support. And I don't know how many of you saw the New York Times article where he did it. He raising money all over the country in places that they say that somebody like him would never ever win. Because people know a real champion when they see one, and it is him. So this race is going, it's not going to be given to anybody. It's going to be won with a lot of sweat equity. But I tell you, if you want transcendence, and Senator Sanders is your candidate, if you want somebody that's going to fight like hell every day that he is in that oval, and does not have to sell out to big money interests, because his only interest is you and 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 you. Because he don't hold fundraisers in the homes of multi-millionaires and millionaires and telling them that nothing will fundamentally change for you. One of the candidates said that at one of his fundraisers. And what I say to that is that if nothing fundamentally changes for multi-millionaires and billionaires, then nothing fundamentally changes for you. We need fundamental change in this country. We cannot continue on the same course. And middle ground, middle of the way, is not going to do it. Either you're on the side of the people or you are not. Either you are willing to make the sacrifices that are needed to turn this political climate around and put the power back into the hands, bless you, of the people where it belongs, or you are not. Either you got the courage in your convictions or you don't. Either you're going to answer to your owner donors or you're not. I mean, they're donors. Or no, they owners. Or you're not. We ain't got time to play around, Waterloo. Only all that we love is on the line, that's all. Nothing big, just all that you love. That's it, that's all. Is on the line. And I know that we can do this. So I want to close with four things. First of all, we need people to volunteer to sign up to get to work. Because work equity is going to help Senator Sanders win this race and transform this nation. He can't do it by himself. Even when he wins, he's still going to need all of us to get this done. Because the powerful interests are not going to roll over and say, oh my God, Senator Bernard Sanders won, I guess I was wrong. They're going to keep doing what they do. As Brother Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand, nothing without a struggle, never has and never will. So even when he wins, he's going to still need people by his side. But if you really do care about the future of this nation, he is the one, because he has absolutely nothing to lose. He has proven that time and time again, being right side of history. Even since he was 19 years old, he wasn't even in elected office, a student at the University of Chicago, president of CORE, standing up against racial discrimination and housing segregation in that city. You fast forward, it's not just what he did in the 60s, it's what he did in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, and even today, on the picket line with striking workers, before he gets to the White House. Looking Jeff Bezos almost in the eye. I say almost, but Jeff Bezos, they won't look SBS in the eye. But standing up to Jeff Bezos with the Fight for 15 grassroots union members, say that those workers at Amazon deserve a living wage. Tell a Disneyland, Mickey and Minnie would not be happy. It's not the happiest place on earth. There's too many of the employees need to subsidize their living because they're not making a living wage. Between that grassroots power and the power that the senator brings to the table, 400,000 of our closest sisters and brothers got an immediate increase in their wages. Senator Sanders can do that as a U.S. senator. Imagine what he can do as president of the United States of America. You need somebody that's going to get in there and stare down the face of a system that has been perpetually rigged on purpose. Somebody who will, on purpose, unrig the system to the benefit of us. That is what we need. Only all that we love is on the line. I often say that you will know the tree by the fruit that it bears. And we know that for a tree to bear fruit, it had to have been growing for a very long time. Not by the fruit that they just not bearing now, but by the fruit that it bears, it bears good fruit. Let me say a word or two. Now, I'm a preacher's kid, so I get 4 or 5 closes, and it is Sunday. And a politician. I do want to say something about ageism, if I might, as I wrap this thing up. You know, a lot of the younger candidates were, you know, they always want to bring up people's age. Now, my mother-in-law used to always say, you only got 2 ways out of here. Ain't none of us getting out of here alive. You know, either you're going young or you're going to grow to be seasoned. And as much as we fight against racism and sexism, we need to stand up against ageism too. We got, you know, a few candidates on the stage who are seasoned. I call them seasoned, Madam Chair. Seasoned. Everything tastes better with a little seasoning. They're seasoned. They got every right to run like everybody else. So you got candidates up there talking about my generation this, my generation that, my generation past, give us the baton. Ain't nobody giving you nothing. You got to earn it, baby. We're not going to give you. You got to earn it. And so candidates that want to bring up people's age all the time, I was just looking at them with the side eye, because either they must, I mean, I guess they're not going to age. I guess they got some secret formula not to age. Because we always have a generation ahead of us and a generation behind us. And what happens to people bringing wisdom to this situation? It's one thing to disagree with somebody because of their platform, but it's another thing to continuously talk about how your generation, when you just got here, you ain't even got enough time on task. So let us not get caught up in ageism on the negative side. If some of these people had their way, I know a man by the name of Nelson Mandela, who served 29 years in prison, standing up against a corrupt, racist system of apartheid in South Africa, who once he got out of prison, his calling took him to become the first black African president of South Africa. He was well into his late 70s. So if I think about some of these folks who want to talk about people's age, then President Nelson Mandela, I guess, was not acceptable to them. We have no room for isms. None. I can guarantee you that Senator Bernie Sanders is his vitality, his vision, all of that. Let me tell you something. My sister stopped wearing 3-inch heels about 3 years ago. When I got on the campaign trail for him last year, all I wear is tennis shoes now for the most part. Even when we go to a formal gathering, the sister wears her, I wear my long wrap dresses and some tennis shoes because I never know if he's gonna break off. I mean, he used to run track, y'all know that. He was a long distance runner. And I was a sprinter. He was a long distance runner. But I can't keep up with him. Seriously. So it's his vitality and his vision. It's not about his age. So unless people got some secret formula where they're not going to age, they need to stop talking about people's age. So meanwhile, back in the ranch, I just had to put that out there because ageism bothers me. I come from a culture where we reverence our elders, where it means something that you got some seasoning on you. And I wish in our broader American culture that we would embrace that a little more instead of trying to throw people away just because they got a little seasoning on them. We all should be as blessed to live a good long life. So here we go. In my 5th closing. I believe that the creator of this great universe has given us 2 hands. One to reach forward and one to reach back, lifting as we climb. We are our sisters and brothers keepers. What happens to one directly, as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, happens to us all indirectly. And as a 21st century people, We know that we are citizens of the world. What happens, not just all over this country, but all over this world, it impacts all of us. One hand to reach forward, one hand to reach back. Number two, and most important, we can't ask other folks to do more for us than we are willing to do for ourselves. The reason why you are in this battle, in this fight, and oh my God, it is a battle, is because you know that in your time, you are called to make a difference, doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. Because our mission is so high, we can't get over it. And our mission is so low, we can't get under it. And our mission is so wide, we can't get around it. We need a conscious-minded people on the move to turn this thing around in this country for ourselves and our time, but also for generations yet to come. But lastly, the words of my grandmother. My grandmother was hailed from the South. She was born in 1915. She could not read or write, but sister, she could count her money. And she counted her money in Southern Ladies Bank Trust with a handkerchief. Right all up in here. Now, Jerry, I know that's how they did it in Mississippi. Handkerchief. Find my money. What side of the bank is it on? That was my grandma. Woo-wee. And even though she didn't have a formal education, she had what we call in the African American community motherly. One of the wisest women I've ever known. When I asked my grandmother what does it take to be successful in life, she said, my dear granddaughter, all you need are the three bones. The wishbone, the jawbone, and the back. Woo! She said the wishbone will keep you hoping and praying because hope is the motivator. The dream is the driver. The jawbone will give you courage to speak truth to power, to lift your voice, because your voice matters, whether you got a fancy title or not. But the most important bone of them all, she said, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is the backbone. Because the backbone is withstanding through our trials and our tribulations. And in this life, we're going to go through some stuff. But we can't have a testimony without a test. We are being tested to determine whether or not we got courage enough, conviction enough to do what we can, where we are, to be the change, in the words of Brother Mahatma Gandhi, to be the change that we want to see in the world. This is our time. It is right now. And if not us, who? And if not now, when? And if you don't feel the clarion call to be on the front line of this change, I don't know what to say. And if you are not mad as hell about what is happening in this country, I don't know what to say. You know, they called the senator angry. I think one of my kind of people from the state of Ohio, Lord have mercy, told the senator he should, don't yell. No, yell. Oh no, I want some yelling. I want people to be mad. I was just pleased because, the senator, he rolled like that. No, I want you to be angry. Because angry black women, we need some other angry folks to join us too. We mad as hell. We want some change in this country. We taking applications. Everybody can be an angry black woman. Come on with it. It's something to embrace. When you have righteous indignation and an anger that is used to make change. That's what we want. And so yeah, I want to see the senator yelling all the time. Doggone it. I saw an article that said that's just how they roll. He from Brooklyn. That's how Brooklynites roll. He wasn't yelling. He was just being who he was, because he wrote the damn bill, hashtag. That's my answer for everything. But in any case, I do want you to feel encouraged. I don't want you to get weary and well doing. If all of us bind together all across this country, we can not only be the change, but we can see change in our lifetime and leave a stable foundation for the next generation that will come behind us. We have a debt that we owe. We might not be able to repay the debt. I always say this about, what happened to my ancestors in this country, but we ought to put a down payment on that debt. Part of that down payment is doing what we can, where we are with what we have, to be the difference in this world. That is what Senator Sanders' campaign is all about. He says, not me, us, he means it. I think I can encapsulate it in my 6 closing.